This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Garth Over.
How we doing?
Tyler.
Doctor.
And tonight we have our very special guest with us. We have JT from Rev-Tac.
Ow!
So how's everyone doing tonight?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, not too bad at all.
Semi-hard.
I mean, I like it. It's always good to be there. So we'll jump into the main topic in a little bit. I know that Garth, you're probably going to want to talk a little bit about an issue you had earlier this week trying out a new rifle.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Or do you want to talk about it after we fix it?
I really don't care. I'm super excited about the rifle. So I went and took my jackal out, and it was a bolt action. Yeah, I don't know what's the gas system's all wonky on it, so I'm not sure what's going on. So right now I just have a sweet bolt action jackal by PSA. I mean, it shoots fantastic when I can get it to fire. I'm hitting phenomenally. I mean, Swamp Fox Saber 5 times is on it. Lighting stuff up out to 300 yards. Love the gun. Love the optic. Just wish it would function like a semi-auto instead of a bolt action is all. So
weird, a long stroke piston that's like an AK is unreliable.
Yeah, who knew? So that's a bummer.
Yeah, well,
we'll
get that in and get it fixed. And
what is it?
This week. A PSA Jackal. So it's PSA came out with this about a year ago. They just started releasing the rifle variants. And it's a long stroke piston upper for an AR.
Oh, what?
So think AK 240 Bravo, 249, any of those. Where it's apparently having some gas issues. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, when you have an elephant and a donkey have a baby, you know.
Yeah, weird things happen.
Yeah, it's probably going to have some issues.
Huh. On a plus side, though, when I bring that down to get you to have it fixed tomorrow, I get to pick up my Mini 14.
Yeah.
So
trusty.
We'll call that a plus.
Never owned one before. Never owned one. First time. Long time listener, first time caller.
Are you a rancher? Why did you want a Mini 14?
I have got on this kick recently that I want to own every variety of a 223 5.56 rifle. So that means AR, bullpup,
If you want to take
anything that's really out there.
One of us doesn't have kids. Go ahead.
It's this guy. It's me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 He's trying to replace the happiness that kids give you with M14s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
have kids. They said it'll be fun. They said I don't know who said that, but ain't me.
So Tyler, you got anything you've done this week, or you're just getting ready to go?
No, I actually did. I actually had I did a 3-gun match this last weekend, and it was really different from what we normally do. It was a head-to-head double elimination. So the course of fire was mirrored. You had 2 people competing at the same time, and it didn't matter what your overall time was. as long as you beat the guy you were
Next
bracketed against,
Wow.
You could progress.
Nice.
Wow, that is awesome.
Super
I
interesting.
like that.
Yeah, I did fairly well. I think I can't remember if it was third or fourth, but I lost right away. I had a stovepipe issue with my staccato P, kicked me into the loser bracket, which sucked because then I had to fight my way back. But the only good thing about it was because I had to do that, I probably shot twice as much as everybody else there. So it actually ended up being a pretty good time.
Well, speaking of staccatos, I did some cool stuff this past week, actually with our guest tonight.
Yeah.
I watched him. I was there. I synced it. When he hit a target at 200 yards with a
200 meters, but
200 meters. Sorry, that's right. It's the yeeter. The yeeter.
Mhm. Yeah, don't take anything from me. Don't take that.
Yeah, 200 meters with a staccato. And
well, it was in my defense, it was a relatively large plate. I think it was 12 inches by 12 inches, so it was pretty big.
Yeah, there's still not too many people who can do that. So,
yep.
Yeah.
That was one of those things we did. I just I went out and did the toxic masculinity course weekend. What do we?
Yeah.
Was it thing?
Yeah. What do we call it? Toxic masculinity weekend. It's where you just let your balls drop for one weekend. You just let them hang out for a little bit. I would love to have seen you guys all there. There was not as much of that this year as past years. It had been toxic in the past, but this was a group of shooters there. Like these guys were, everybody there, Nick, was so cool. And so, I mean, they were good at what they did. But nobody really wanted to, go see what the local peyote smelt like. And
it's because you brought a pastor along.
Oh, Craig was amazing. Listen, if I could have, I mean, he's not a good shot, but he is that dude. I love that guy.
Saved now is what you're saying.
I mean, he sure makes Christianity look cool. That one earring, just like,
Yeah, not everyone brings a pastor as their shooting partner for.
Yeah, you should have told us. Really, you should have. I mean, I would have cut my
it's better to rip that Band-Aid off quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's always great when we do introductions. It's like, oh, what do you do? Oh, this, that. It's I do this. I'm a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's and, like reformed.
Yeah, I thought he was very. I thought he was going to be very progressive. He's not, or he did like prison, like prison ministry is what I would have imagined with all, the hand tattoo and the earring. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so JT, you are the owner of Rev-Tac Firearms Instruction.
Firearm instruction. Just one. Just one gun.
Yeah, sorry,
we only instruct with one gun. Yeah.
At a time. Yeah.
At a time.
Specialize.
Yeah.
It's a very, very special trait. Just one gun. No transitions. They're anti-transition. Boy, do I have a story about that. Oh, well, we are all ears for stories.
Okay. So I had this is how sheltered. First off, I need to tell you, I was homeschooled for a few years, grew up extremely religious. So I think that's why I think it's funny to mess with Craig. But anyway, I had a guy come to a class who was probably 6'4", probably 250 pounds. And he was dressed as a security guard. And the only thing that was odd was that he had long hair and he was wearing a mask when nobody else was, right? And anyway, so I start talking to this guy and he says, well, I'm transitioning. And I was like looking for a rifle, rifle pistol, like, what are we doing here? And and I was wanting to tell him like, well, you're in the wrong class. This is a low light, no light class. This isn't a, primary and secondary firearm class. And so but then I got it. Like I realized just in the nick of time that this enormous man is going to be an enormous woman. And
It's ma'am.
It's ma'am. Yeah, that was right. And he's an awesome dude. And I kept calling him dude through the whole night. And Tanya's like, "Are you doing that on purpose to him?" And I was like, "No, I can't help it. My eyes, this is what I'm seeing." So afterwards we had a beer and I'm just like, "Hey, I owe you an apology. I don't know why this was so weird for me. And I'm sorry, I do you, honey boo boo, but he's like, "No, I don't care. You don't have to, this is my deal. I don't give a shit if you." And so I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool, and I know that can be a touchy subject for some people when it's. I think everyone has heard stories of, and like I said, the "it's ma'am" thing where you're like, "Sorry, bro."
Yeah. Well, I just made all that up. I was hoping to maybe get AR-15 podcast canceled. So it's not even true. But
hey, if we haven't been able to do it yet, it's probably not going to happen.
We're all already pretty much unemployable except for where we are.
Yeah,
we do get hate mail. You've made it when.
Really? Oh man, that's going to be interesting for me then. Because I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Those things happen. So what you said you grew up a little bit sheltered and stuff like that. Let's get a little bit of backstory on you, and then how it is that you got into starting a training company.
Yeah. Okay. So I grew up in northern Minnesota, in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. And I say grew up there because I think we lived there until I was like 10 or something like that. But my mom was. I'm not going to call her picky. She was maybe not picky. What's the word when I had a lot of dudes coming in and out of my life for a while there. But one thing, she picked up on religion, and then she ended up meeting my dad. And then we started going to a crazy church where you'd lay on the ground and, you were slain in the spirit. And if you weren't, running around the aisles, then you didn't love Jesus as much as the guy who was. And so I lived that life for quite a while. And then my mom decided to homeschool me for a while. And then we moved to Arkansas, and that life kind of shut off. That wasn't all of a sudden we weren't going to crazy churches like that. And we were going to Southern Baptist churches, which are diet crazy. And then,
so like no snakes or anything like that.
Not that I remember. I don't remember that part, but I just remember getting to a point where I was just like, man. So my youth leader was sleeping with the pastor's wife, and that was kind of when I was like, man, if this is religion, I don't really want any of this, And so, long story short, is I stepped away for a long time, joined the military. Started having to do hard things in hard places, and then I was like, oh, I guess I need God right now. It's like, I know I've ignored you for a long time, but hey, if you'll just help me out of this one bind, So anyway, and then I started kind of just working back in that direction, and I realized once I started having kids how important it was to have some sort of foundation for them, and now I'm drinking whiskey and cussing with you boys, talking about buttholes and trannies, and still love Jesus. So I'm very much like Craig. Yeah, very much like Craig.
Yeah. Well, right on. That is a good thing to strive for. And then you wound up in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. I met a nice girl at a party in Iowa, and knocked her up, and then. So then I had to stay here because I'd never met my dad. So then I was like, well, I'm not doing that to another kid, So I ended up, sticking around. We got married because that was the right thing to do. And so I'm actually, I was married twice. before I met Ton. So 2 failed marriages, and then old Tani came along, and she's like, you know what? The 3rd time's a charm with this guy. And so, yeah, I'm on my 3rd marriage, but I would like to say I'm a slow learner, and I've figured out a lot of things, and I think I'm glad that I met Tanya now, because I don't think she would have liked me 10 years ago or even 20 years ago.
You know, that's fair. I'm really surprised that my wife met me 20 years ago and still liked me.
Yeah.
Like,
do you think she likes you more now?
That's debatable.
Really?
I'm going to say probably more now. Probably more now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like back then she thought I was trainable, so like she still had hope.
Yeah.
And it's like after 20 years now, she's like, no, that's just him. And
die a little more inside and accept.
Yeah, it's no, there's no one else that I could be married to though. So
yeah.
And
awesome.
I think that road runs both ways.
Yeah, it's
because these two have met my wife. And
oh, really? See, and I never have, but I would imagine she's a saint.
I'm a favorite for sure.
Something like that. My wife and I met in a bar, and I think the first thing I said to her was, "What poor son of a bitch did you steal that Vortex liner from?" And then she said, "It's mine. I'm in the military." And I said, "What unit?" She said, "I'm in the Air Guard." And I responded with, "I thought you said you were in the military."
Yeah. And then you recruited her sexually.
No, she stayed in the Air Guard for 22 years, and then retired and all of that. But we're not here to talk about that stuff. Let's hear more about you and Rev-Tac. So,
okay.
What's the story of Rev-Tac?
Yeah,
tell me the tale.
Dude, let me just tell you. So I've been a gun guy for a long time. I mean, obviously with my job in the military and all that stuff. And I shouldn't say obviously, because what I'm finding is more and more dudes in my line of work are not like gun guys. You know, they're not living and breathing this, and they'll shoot at quals and they'll, maybe do a few things. I shouldn't say a lot. I should say 1 or 2, but there are those guys. And then there are other guys who are just balls deep in it. But so what ended up happening is I just needed to not take money from my family. And I had gone and I had taken a concealed carry class in this back room of this smoky gun shop. This dude, I mean, they had already outlawed smoking in businesses, and this guy didn't care. He was still smoking in his gun shop. And long story longer is that he showed maybe like a 15-minute video on gun stuff, and he didn't even finish the video. It was as fast as he could fill out your paperwork, take your $75. He shut off the video. He's like, "You got any questions?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, yes, I have thousands of questions, but I don't think you know the answers to any of these, And so I left there, and I was like, I'm going to put this dude out of business. And he was charging $75. So I went and got NRA certified, which is, I hope they don't sponsor this, but I mean, I am still NRA certified, but I mean, that is the lowest denomination of certification you can get. That's like getting your GED.
All 4 of us are NRA certified, so that tells you how easy it is to do it.
Yeah, and I think USA, I think USCCA is even a little notch below the NRA one.
Do you really? See? And I took the USCCA, and I felt like we were actually so. Maybe it was because I took it with all our instructors. I got all of ours certified in it, but I felt like the qual. I mean, let me just tell you, when I went through my NRA certification, there was a girl who had never shot a gun in there. And the instructor's like, "It's fine. If you don't like your gun, we've got 22s that you can shoot to do the qual with." And
did you take yours in Sioux City?
I took mine. My first one I thought was in Minnesota.
Okay, because I did mine in Sioux City, and it was a very similar experience. It was the blended learning brought to you by the same people who made the Army SSD courses.
Yeah.
And it was just hot garbage.
Yeah.
So you started
what? Yeah, go. No, it's fine. Yeah.
You before we go off the weird training rabbit hole, because we are known to do that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
You started a company to make another guy go out of business, which is near and dear to my own heart. And I mean, that's not the only company I know of who has done something like that.
Yeah.
And so you just went and got your NRA certification and said, all right, I'm going to start teaching.
Yeah. Yep. I started teaching, and my plan was to just undercut this dude. So he was charging $75. I charged $25. And, my first class, I couldn't even get my parents to come to. I think we had 4 people in it. It was terrible. And then after that, it was like 8 people. And I remember, so I had a buddy of mine helping me because I thought I needed help with eight people, which is crazy because our classes, 2 years from then would be 180 people, and twice a day. It was crazy. And so long story short is that, yeah, we got into this. I was still working as a paid fireman, and then I was gone a lot with the military. And long story longer is that my partner, he just wanted to do this for some drinking money, and I was like, I think I'm going to do this for a living, And so I started teaching other stuff. I decided to start advancing classes, and just kind of thinking like, hey, what on the military side is really valuable to personal defense that is also applicable to, and then soon it was like low light and trauma management and, defensive pistol and gun, carbine gunfighter and all that crap. So, yeah.
Yep. So it all started with being, I know that's kind of, well, I got started as a training guy because there was no one within 3 hours of me. Yeah. And it was, hey, the Army paid a lot of money to make me a small arms instructor. I'm sure I can teach this class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and so I understand the need and desire to do that. And then as it went forward, I mean, I've come down and taken, it was my second class I did with you this weekend. I know all 3 of us came down and did a carbine class with you guys.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
You did not teach.
Yeah. Who taught that?
Was that Mike that was teaching that?
Oh, so it must have been a fundamentals class. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
AR-1 and 2. I think we stacked fundamentals 1 and 2 back to back.
Yeah, fun. Yep. That's awesome. Yep. It's weird because 10 years ago I taught every single class, and now I have 11 instructors that work for me, and I have my guys who feel like they only want to teach advanced classes, and then I've got guys who are like, I'll teach everything, and then I've got guys who say, hey, listen, I'm my realm is the fundamentals, so I'd like to stick with that. And so long story short is that I think people sometimes come down and they expect to train with me and they get somebody else, and I hope they're not disappointed,
Well, that I think happens anytime you start to have the company where you have like a face of a company or something like that. It's, we have other instructors.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I've traveled around quite a bit, taking classes from other instructors or something like that. And I think only once have I had like the guy who I thought was going to be teaching it be the guy who was teaching it.
Yeah.
Because it's always been like, oh, he's got other stuff to do, or he'll pop in.
Yeah. I popped in.
Yeah. Oh no, you did it. It's just like that's kind of the norm for one of those. We've talked before about like how to find training in your area. And it's bring up the Google, and you start looking and see where other people are going. And it's like, oh yeah, I did this with this guy, and you go down, hey, my name's big enough to be recognized now. I have other responsibilities because this is a business. And sometimes you have to do that background, like, paperwork and work on a website.
Yeah. Yeah. It is not it's so weird because it's not, I mean, who is that? Dan Blazarian or whatever that dude, who's just on a yacht with beautiful women all the time. Like that's not how this goes. Mike's teaching because I've worked all day, and either I've taught all day and then he's doing night classes, or I've been scheduling classes, getting quotes, all sorts of things. I mean, it is so wild. It's not glamorous at all. It's not.
No, it's for any of our listeners who think that like being a firearms instructor is super glamorous. It's not a jet setting lifestyle. It's
no, come on. Tell the truth.
It's a lot of, well, yeah, I definitely need another case of 5.56. Do we have to buy the name brand cereal?
Yeah, I mean, we are doing better than that. we can still get the name brand cereal, but I think now it's at a point where it's like, hey, listen, if I can sneak away and spend some time with my family, I want to, and I wanted to back then. And dude, the amount of guilt that I felt, I mean, I can be pretty honest and say that I jacked up a lot of the relationships in my past, and the amount of guilt I had to feel because I was married to a business and I was married to a dream. And then nothing was going to come in the way of that, and so that's kind of now I'm at a place where I can actually step away and be like, you know what, I'm going to spend a little time with my family, let somebody else ride this horse.
Heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And like it was neat doing this last one, this toxic masculinity, because you brought your family with.
Yeah, so I know, not very toxic. And when it started, that was real. Like I would go there, and dude, I would be doing some weird stuff,
Well,
and
it was funny because the guys tried to warn me about things.
Yeah.
And I looked at them and laughed, and which in turn like made everyone really confused.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, if it gets hot, Tim cools down by taking his pants off first.
Yes.
And I go,
but it never got hot. It never got hot. I would be naked so fast standing behind you spotting.
Well, and I stand there and go, oh, well, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
And then they look at me. They're like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah, the military. I'm not going to get heat rash on my thighs.
Yeah, skies out, thighs out. Come on, guys. And they go, then they're just like, who is this? Who brought him?
I know. This big bear, this big man of meat. Yeah.
Yep. But so we can talk a little bit about your job for the military is a little bit different than others. And the toxic masculinity weekend class that I went to was not just a standard like carbine or pistol class or 2 days of, random shooting. I mean, it kind of was, but our closest target was that 200-meter target.
Yeah.
After we zeroed. So this was a long range, because you really are kind of a long range guy in your heart.
I am. I'm not really good at, I mean, I would say I'm above average at pistol and carbine, but long range is my bread and butter. And so, yes, absolutely. And that the biggest thing that I want guys to take away is that the average American male never shoots past 300 yards in his entire life, And so, and then you look at this, Nick, and after that weekend, there are guys who an 800-meter shot is a chip shot, that's their easy shots. And then they're like, man, I'm at 1,500 meters. I'm kind of struggling. I'm like, dude, that's so crazy, because going around the table at the beginning of this, you would have said, 500 meters was a really long shot for you, Yep.
Well, I even said that at the beginning. I was like, I live and die, but I go, my world stops at 500.
Yeah.
And
yep, I remember that.
Because that was what I practiced to. And, for me personally, that was kind of as far as I ever needed to go. And I went, yeah, let's do a little bit more, put some legs on it. And I had shot farther a couple times, in prep work.
Yeah.
But all those fundamental skills that you learn at a basic class transition across to that long range shooting still, probably more so than about anything else. Like it is a real fun. It's a super fundamentals, like having the basics down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because if you're molesting that trigger, or if you're not doing your job right as the shooter, then the spotter just pulls his hair out back there,
Yeah, or if you're a spotter looking at it going, I can't see trace and it's too wet for any splash around.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and that was neat so that's again where I got really lucky, because that first day, I've done this enough that I was able to get, what was Ding Dong's name? Michael. I was able to get Michael on at the mile in 3 shots. And we really struggled with that day because but the cool part is that we had all relatively good shooters, and so what was happening was I wasn't really getting tasked with spotting for people that much. Most of you guys were doing what you're planning on doing. How far did you go? Did you go 12, 13, 14?
We were at 1250 consistently, like working everything in and out.
Yeah.
And then when we turned to start walking out to the mile, we got into that. There was a valley that had a weird wind cut in it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
then the wind started doing goofy things.
Yeah.
And what rifle and round were you using, Dooley?
So for this one, I took a bolt gun. I did. One of the guys down there was shooting a rifle that I'm probably going to have to pick up because I really like the charging system on it. But I was shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor, out of a Bergara, and it, the Bergara HMR Wilderness is like a cheat code for decent rifle.
Yeah. You had like a 36-inch barrel on there, didn't you? You were touching the mile target with your muzzle brake.
I mean, close. I was thinking about it. And then the extra long old Gemtech can also helped.
Yeah,
I figured you were the guy that was loving the incendiary rounds.
There was somebody there. There was somebody there that had.
Yeah, that was. Hey, we're gonna zero this target at 500 meters, and pops the ammo can open it. I'm like, we're okay to shoot these? Yeah. I said shoot it over here. It's like, oh, you're sure?
Yeah, those should have been shot at a 55-gallon barrel. Those should not have. I know. I didn't even, after class was over, I didn't even go look at that target. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get my blood pressure up over. Yeah.
Oh, so when I got home, there was there's a target company up in Watertown that I know the owners of.
Yeah, Atlas.
He's a really good dude. Yeah, Atlas.
Yeah,
really good
he's
dude.
Awesome. Yep.
He had a picture that he had posted to.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was like that shark fin.
Yeah,
I'll share it for anybody.
Put it in the chat.
I'll just throw it on the screen here so anybody who wants to see it can. And I call it a shark fin, but that looks like 2 rounds of armor piercing incendiary.
Did it break the target, or what is that? What shape of target is that?
I don't know. It's
he always makes some weird. He makes weird stuff,
Yeah. But I just know the first time I saw that touch steel and I saw the spark off that 50 round, and I was like, oh, we're there. Yeah,
we should be raising money right now to replace this, but you guys didn't. Nobody took
it. Is
donations.
A white-tailed deer vital.
Oh, that's what that is?
That's what that is. Yep.
Tyler, this is...
It was.
Yeah. Was. That is
He's
awesome.
looking on the internet. That's
no. I'm I just hopped on atlastargetworks.com.
You are the fact checker for this group, right?
I mean, curious because I know he makes weird shit all the time, and I'm like,
yeah,
the shark fin's a little out there because he's pretty all about his small game animals.
Yeah, hunting.
I mean, he just came out with his Halloween line, so that's pretty cool.
His what?
If you're into that. Well, his Halloween line, he's got ghosts and werewolves and
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He
Yeah.
always has weird crap, and if
Yep.
if you're into that, so I think he needs to do those trucker silhouettes. You know what I'm talking about? Those little
the naked ladies,
yes, just
Or-
do those.
or like my T-shirt from.
I know. Have it be the man. I wish you could post that. That was hilarious.
I can probably find that and throw it up in the chat.
I loved that shirt. There were some great shirts there this weekend.
You realize he has a beer can target.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he does. That's
Yeah.
good.
It's kind of funny.
Well, that's a reusable beer can, so that's handy.
Yeah. It's an actual. It's a silhouette
Yeah,
of a
just a Bud Light
soda can, but we all know.
Soda can. But Tyler, tell me about Trigger Interactive.
That still going. I mean, I just got
there we go.
boys from Active Self Protection sent me a video today of them using it down at a shoot in Kansas. So
so I was supposed to be at that national conference,
really?
but teaching I did last year, but I was too busy. That's
what
the
was
first
name
time.
of that shoot.
Man, what do they call that? They it's
That's
for
a charity thing, right?
It is a charity, and it is for Ton could tell me right now, but it's something hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, but something water, living water. It's the Living Water Ranch but anyway, it's awesome. But long story short, that was the first time I ever saw your stuff.
Yeah.
And that was very cool.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was funny when we walked in. For those who didn't know, when I did that class back in last February with Tim, when you do these classes, people kind of like want to know your background, where you're from, whatnot. And I get up there and I'm like, hi, I'm Tyler. I'm just a dude. I'm in the military and I own this other company on the civilian side. And Tim's like, you motherfucker, I sent you an email like 3 months ago and you just ghosted.
Oh yeah. I do remember that now. Hey, yeah. I do remember that again.
Totally called me out on the spot. I was like, oh yeah, you did. Because I was like, I'm gonna get back to this guy. And then 2 days went by, and then a week went by, and then 2 weeks went by, and then it buried in my thing. And
yeah.
It's funny as hell.
Yeah. Well, so it wasn't on purpose.
No, it was that was right after SHOT Show. So I was getting one after some show, and every time you go to a show, you get a billion fucking emails like that. I mean, every YouTuber and every podcaster, those fuckers just come out and be like, "Hey, send me a system,"
Yeah.
Yep.
I know. And I think I had said something similar to that because I wanted it for the Chris Horton. Well, which is awesome because we have your system now and it's amazing and we're using it again for the Chris Horton, but we use it for a lot of our advanced classes now as far as that stuff goes. And man, I love it, dude. I'm not trying to pitch your crap, but
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm trying to get some more scenarios out there, but we at least got iOS out last month, and that shit just everything when you make something, it always takes longer and costs more than you expect. So
guys, look at my smoking hot wife. Tommy, come on. You were playing Minecraft. Sorry. She's a big gamer.
Those things happen.
Yeah. But so Tyler, that system is awesome, and I would say the same thing is we just need scenarios. We need more.
Yep, I know. We're trying to work on it. We got might be partnering with another company to make that happen.
Tell us about it. Do a give us the tea. Yeah, give us the tea.
It's still
it's in the works
at this point.
Hey, let's all go around and guess what company it is.
No, because there's not exactly a lot of interactive automated target systems out there. So
There is not. You're right, but
Yes.
so
I will
We're gonna see what we can
abstain.
make happen. That's a cool thing about this industry. Even people you think that are your competitors, they're out there willing to help you and chat with you and bullshit with you. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of people, even guys who own very large weapons companies. They're all friends. They all know each other.
yeah.
The owners of SIG and HK and Knights and you name it. All those guys know each other because once you get into it, it's actually the gun world's pretty small.
Yes, I would agree.
That is a somewhat of an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
Because
even Dooley's gone places and had fanboys around.
Do they just recognize his voice?
Nick.
They recognize the voice. Yeah, it's the voice.
Yeah.
They didn't even see him. They just heard him. They're like,
yeah, because I'm sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
Nick, I'll be honest. I walked up.
It's definitely.
Do you remember when I walked into Toxic? I was like, that guy looks familiar, but I didn't know. And then the moment you spoke, I was like, Nick Dooley. I had no. I mean, I was like, okay. I mean, I know this guy from somewhere, but whatever. And then, God, that luscious voice of yours.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot. I had somebody say, they're talking about anonymity on the internet, and I said that's never worked for me because I can do hey, I'm whoever, but when I walk out into public, I have this bad habit of saying what's on my mind, and apparently my voice is distinct.
Super
aggressively honest.
Hey man, let me circle the wagons. Let me circle this back. All right, so we can actually stay a little bit on the topic. Everyone's met you, JT, from the podcast now. They love you. They like your personality. What class should they come and take it? RevTac. So especially that you want to teach them. So, they might come spend some money and drop some coin with you.
Yeah. So, boy, man, I don't think one class is more important than the other, but I would say that my opinion is shifting. So we go through these seasons. Winter we'll teach a lot of CQB, and spring we teach pistol, like extreme close quarter stuff, and then summer and fall is long range, and so we go through this stuff. But I would say that as men and as protectors, and anyone who thinks that they are going to that thinks that they're called to defend their families or loved ones or whatever, if the world ends or something like that, I would say, hey, get in a mid-range or a precision course of some sort, and learn how to use your long gun, your rifle, and learn. And that's one thing that I would say is important. I mean, obviously pistols important, especially if you're carrying it on an everyday basis. But all these guys, I don't know how to even describe it. I just think it's important to, let's just get past concealed carry. How about that? How about all the people who have taken a concealed carry course, just go find another course to take after that. Continue training,
Pistol Tactics 1 on Sunday at 1300.
That's why you're the fact checker, buddy. Yes, we have Pistol Tactics at 1. We have a 1-day long range course, because I do recognize, believe me, it's not lost on me that not everybody can dedicate 2.5 days to long range precision, right? I mean, that's tough. I mean, we had guys show up to class and then have to leave just because their families needed them, and that's okay. So we have a 1-day class on Sunday. So you're welcome to that, as well as long range precision. And then, did it say Pistol Tactics with JT, or who did it say? Or just Pistol Tactics? I got to know if I'm working.
Tactics, yep.
Okay.
So you said intermediate range. Now, this is one of my favorite things, because it comes down to like weird terminology that we speak our own language in the gun world, and we talk about intermediate range. So intermediate range is, to some people, like 800 meters and in. Is that where you're going to say your intermediate range is?
I was, but now I want to change my answer to something more acceptable. I would like to be between 500 meters and in. No, honestly, I would say 800 meters is the long end of intermediate, right? So, 100 to 500 is what I would call intermediate. We're teaching a mid-range precision course in Georgia next month, and I think that's all within 500 meters. So your targets just get smaller. You just demand more accuracy.
Yep, I did not shoot just the because we are the AR podcast. I did have to break out my AR while we were at Toxic Masculinity.
Yeah, and you moved out a ways at that, didn't you?
Yeah, I was shooting that. Just regular out of the box Hornady 68 grain Frontier ammo, so nothing fancy. And I was running targets like a whole gamut, changing up distances, going out. Like we went out to that 810 or something.
Yeah.
So 800 yards with a 223, I will take all day long because that's one of those things where the only thing that would have made that rifle any better for the class would have probably been VZ grips. And VZ grips are great because they're made from a solid block of G10, and G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree grip angle and a wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, along with color options available. 1911 grips with extreme customizability for standard and slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. They also have grips from my beloved Berettas with more than 25 textures and 27 colors available. This coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast.
Wow, you just did that. I gotta get a little ice. That was really good.
Let's put those in there on you.
Yeah, that was a seamless transition and segue.
Yeah, I think I could have shot a lot farther if I had VZ grips. Less knowledge, more VZ grips. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, dude. So that was the thing, because Pastor Craig did send me a text today, and he's like, "Hey, tell me, talk to me about why I would need this Vortex weapon-mounted laser rangefinder and ballistic calculator." Who's seen these things? I don't remember what they're called.
They just announced them today.
Yeah.
And it's so a while back, Vortex had that thing that they won contract thing for the Army.
Yeah, they had a shot.
And it had it's like a giant, or it's a laser rangefinder with ballistic calculator. And it'll do everything but pull the trigger for you.
Yeah.
M157.
Yeah, well, the optic. It was the optic, wasn't it?
Yep, they had the optic. I remember, had all that.
Dude, I remember fielding those. Man, that was like testing those in like 2018 at the Army Sniper School. I was an instructor down there, and I remember them being there and us testing them. And I mean, sure, they're all right.
So they pulled what I'm going to call the electronic suite off of that optic, and now you can bolt it on, and it'll Bluetooth to your new electric scope, kind of like the Sig Kilo system.
Yeah, Gunworks had something like that also. The Rev-Tac had something very similar.
Yep, and so it'll give you a shooting solution for your angle and distance and load data if you put it all in.
So $2,000 is there?
Yep.
I know, but so tell me what the value is for it. I said it, Craig, unless you're shooting PRS and winning, you probably don't need this thing.
Yeah. I looked at it and I went, this is cool. Like, this is neat. Moving on.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't want to point my gun at everything that I want to look at on the civilian side. You know what I mean? So a pair of nice binos that do the same thing for $2,000, man, I'll take those all day long. I'm not sure. But gosh,
it's the speed. I mean, I've never used one of these. I bought I got a pretty smoking deal on one of those Burris eliminators back in the day, which is a hunting scope, kind of the same thing, but all you do is input your drop data and it'll just adjust it'll illuminate the reticle to the proper drop. But if you see the deer, you can just press the button and bam, you have the solution and you fire. And sometimes that's needed, like when you're walking through a tree line. South Dakota hunting's a little different where we're at, so sometimes you don't get a lot of time before you got to pop a shot off. So that's the only benefit I've seen.
Yeah.
Or you have all the time in the world because you watch them come for 2 days.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you have all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if Nick runs a flag up in his house, I can see it from my house. We live 30 miles apart.
It's flat. It's flat. Yeah.
It's Garth and I have talked about that from our place 12 miles south of town or south of here. You can see a water tower that's 13 miles east of here. That's like you can also see from Garth's house.
So are you guys flat earthers now? What is that?
No.
Are you trying to say like, hey, listen?
I haven't shot long distance yet, so maybe, I don't know.
There's a tall point in between us, and it's this one tower that you can see for 60 miles around us. Because
that's awesome.
It's the largest geographical feature.
I can see how south or northeast South Dakota would believe in the flat Earth theory. You know what I mean? You guys are pretty flat there. It's terrible. You go like the whole world's like this. You know?
No, so we've talked a little bit about like you think having the long gun or that getting on the long gun is really one of the most important things to learn to do, which I agree. And training is imperative no matter what with whatever you plan on shooting.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I'm sure that Garth can attest to this. He was the gun guy who's like, oh yeah, I like guns and I've got them and I did things and I'm a pretty decent shot. And then he started coming to trainings and went, I didn't realize how much I didn't know.
Right.
No, that's 100% true. Yeah, I thought I knew enough to be dangerous, and the only thing I was a danger to was myself.
Yeah. Aren't we all though?
I mean, I still probably am most dangerous to myself than anyone else.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
guys, we let's just put us all in here. We are above average because we are training. You know what I mean? Yeah. We are above average. And that's the thing, guys, is I seek out training also. I had Adam Winch in my living room the other day fixing my grip on my pistol and Ton's grip, and he's fine-tuning things that again, we have not ever gotten in any of the other fundamental classes we've taken from other people. So it was awesome. But the point, I think, is that we are more advanced than 99.9% of the the populace, but we should never stop being the student and just fall back on our hunches and be like, well, we're the master. I will never be the master in my craft. I am absolutely still a student.
Yep, that's 100%. And if I ever meet an instructor who says that they are the master or are done learning, I don't want to take a class from them.
I mean, once I started doing these competitions, and you start like seeing guys who have a President's 100 or even a Chief's 50, right? And some of these guys are just freaks with what they can do. It's insane.
Yeah, like I know 7 double distinguished shooters that shoot with the with the Army marksmanship program, and it's they've given out fewer double distinguished medals than they have medals of honor, and like weird. I know 7 of them. That's probably higher than.
That's a weird fact. I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
and are they ridiculously impressive shooters?
Well,
Some of them, yeah.
2 of them are. Like, one dude, I just call him, I'm like, he's a robot. It's the
Name
only
drop
way-
him. Name drop him.
Well, like, if you've ever shot with, actually, you probably know him, Noe, N-O-E.
Yeah, of course. I know Noe is a close friend of mine, so that's why I was asking. Yep.
Yeah.
And then who else?
So Noe, then Sergeant Major Lochner from up here in South Dakota.
Cool.
My neighbor Tobin.
Yeah.
Then we've got guys on the team now that are Sadness Doc. He's I think he's 6 or 7 points away from going double. And then TJ, who was shooting with Tyler, just went double distinguished.
Oh,
And,
awesome.
Yeah, like there's a lot
how do I get one of these guys down to teach a class on the military side of things to some Nebraska boys? I know you don't want these Nebraska guys to run up on y'all and smoke that ass, but
guys we're worried about.
Don't worry, we'll see him coming from 60 miles away. So
yeah, you will. Yeah.
So we have this thing called a Form 8.
A what?
A Form 8 request for training.
Form 8. I'm putting it in the chat. Form 8. Request for training. Yeah.
Yep. And then we'll just figure out a way. We'll get together, set up a cumulative range time.
Yeah.
And we've got guys who are super, super salty on pistol.
Yeah. And
we can do some training swap back and forth and make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would love that. That would be good. And I'm always looking to figure out how to benefit the teams, for my guys, and I'm not a Army competitive shooter anymore. I mean, I've competed in sniper competitions and won those quite a bit, but I'm not part of the state marksmanship team or anything like that. I love that you guys do that. I just, I wish I had time,
Yeah, that it's definitely its own monster to take up, but luckily it's what I do for drill. So
nice. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah,
yep.
I'm still being productive.
Yeah, I train units too. Allegedly, like we teach them how to shoot. We at least go to the range with them and like give them the basics.
Yeah. Hey, before we close, are we going to talk about the Chris Horton coming up this?
Yes, that's. I was going to wait for you to start bringing stuff up about it.
Yeah,
so
Daddy.
You
all right.
Already talked about Chris Horton. So.
Yeah. So Chris Horton legacy sniper match. Chris was killed in Afghanistan, man, back in 2011, and so we just want to honor Chris's legacy. So we put on this match every year. Snipers come in from all over the country. They're awesome guys from all branches. So, I mean, you'll be friggin' grilling hot dogs around the fire with SEAL Team 10 guys, 2 guys, all sorts of different dudes. And then as well as your just good old-fashioned guard guys and full-time guys and all that jazz, right? And then we do have, I believe, a civilian team shooting this year, which actually slipped through the cracks. They were not supposed to be able to shoot in this, but they are. So it's too late now. And so they're just going to shoot in this. There was some misunderstanding and registration and whatever. But long story short is that it is next weekend, I believe, the 6th through the 8th. And the 6th is just a meet and greet where you can hang out with these guys and get your pictures taken and just sit around the fire and bullshit with these dudes. The 7th is when stuff kicks off. And I mean, it's cool to watch. It's one of the only sniper matches where you will get to literally be right in the mix. You're standing and there is a sniper stalking 10 foot from you trying to stalk his targets. Or you'll be sitting here watching these guys shoot from the helicopters or buggies or whatever, we're shooting from as far as that stuff goes. So it is a blast, and the names of the stages this year are hilarious. I came up with them myself. You have to come to hear what they are. Most of them are not suitable for even this podcast. Yeah.
Well, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Is
nice.
Is that, and that's at your place?
Yeah, so it starts at RevTac on the 6th, and then we move out to our long range, which is in Ponca. the best way to describe it is Verzani Farms. So we'll stage at Verzani Farms, and then we will shuttle spectators. It's free to watch, but we'll shuttle spectators to the stages. And we generally have about 4 stages going on at once. So that it's, I mean, hey, you can watch guys stalk for a little bit. You can go watch them shoot from a boat. You can go watch these guys, do moving targets. You can go, all of the things, right? And then there's an obstacle course back at RevTac on the 8th, which is Sunday. Then they do their mile shots, and then the award ceremony in the afternoon. So we'd love to have support for that. We'd love to have Christy Nome, if she's watching, man, get down here and support your South Dakota boys.
If the governor's watching our podcast, her and I got words to discuss.
Really?
About the things that are not gun related.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, well, Christy, come on, come to this thing. Ride your horse.
Yes, we'll make that through the tens of people who are watching this now. And,
yeah.
But when is this?
I said October 6th through the 8th, Nick. Listen to me. I'll put it
I know,
in
but you have to say things like 3 times.
Tyler, can you pull this up somewhere quickly? It surprises me.
Is it on your website?
Yeah, of course. It's so weird. Tyler, you have been able to fact check everything else in milliseconds. And this you're like, I don't know. I'm not sure if the internet even has this on there. So it's all right. Don't worry about it.
This is where I'm like, no, you have to say things. So there's a guy who does a radio commercial here in town. And he does, everyone will know what I'm talking, or anybody who's been in the greater Pierre area has heard his commercial before, because he got told by somebody in advertising, you have to say it 3 times for people to remember. So he always does GreyGooseMotors.com, GreyGooseMotors.com, GreyGooseMotors.com.
That's
and then
awesome.
Closes it out. It's just, that's 3/4 of his commercial.
There it is. All right, dude.
Yeah.
I'll share it if you let me here.
Share it.
Oh, where we at?
I'm just reading these comments. I love it. Guys, thank you for listening to this.
Sniper competition share. There we go.
Share.
You guys seeing it?
I don't know. Here, let me get. Yeah. Oh, there's Chris.
There it is.
Hey, babe. You guys want to see Tawna in her pajamas? Tawny.
Oh, she's gone.
Yep. We're going to go watch 90 Day Fiance. Mm-hmm.
Oh, lucky you.
That sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. Almost like national security experts warning our aging power grid is more vulnerable than ever. January marked the 3rd time a power station in North Carolina was damaged by gunfire. Authorities are saying this raises a new level of attack. They're now checking our grid for vulnerabilities, and they've identified 9 key substations. If these substations are attacked, the power could be knocked out from coast to coast for up to 18 months. Imagine a blackout lasting not days, but weeks or months. Your life would be frozen in time right at the moment the power fails. Lights all over the country would go out, throwing people into total darkness. Good thing to take a low light, no light class.
Oh.
That's why having your own solar power is more important than ever. With the new Patriot Power Generator 2000X, you get a solar generator that doesn't install in your house because it's portable. You can even take it with you or use it inside. It's powerful enough to power your phones, medical devices, and even your fridge. And right now, you can go to 4patriots.com and use code FRN to get 10% off your first purchase, including the Patriot Power Generator.
Come on. What?
Just go to the number 4patriots.com and use code FRN for 10% off. That's 4patriots.com and use code FRN and get yours today.
We have a stray cat in our front yard. Look at Tawny taking pictures of it. Can you see her? She's taking pictures. Oh, you can probably see it. It's eating the leftovers we threw out for the chickens. But hey, tell me about
cougar.
this. Yes.
Ditch Panther. Yes. So, JT, where can people find RevTac? On the internets.
Yeah. So we are hurting on social media. So I would love it if you came and gave us a like and shared our page with everybody you've ever met in your life. Um, on so that's RevTac Firearm Instruction on Facebook, or I think it might be RevTac Firearm Instruction on Instagram too. I'm getting drunk. And then but revtac.com, rev-tac.com is our website. And then I think we have all the weird ones like MeWe and all those also, but I don't know that we're on them as much as Insta and Facebook.
That is understandable, because those are the ones people actually use.
Which is sad. We should have had a whole podcast on that.
I'm sure we could. And of course, you're welcome back anytime you want to come on. We'll have to have you back on to talk more training and things of those things. Or just, random whateverness of the day. And guys, you got anything else to add before we sign off for the evening?
No, man, it was a solid time talking to JT. Thanks for coming on, and we really appreciate it. Really enjoy having you on.
Well, thank you. And I'll say this about RevTac. We've gone down there and taken their classes before. I recommend, if you guys want to get into more firearms training, the cool thing about RevTac is I think your diversity in terms of what you put on, right? There are a lot of trainers out there who, like, they only stick to the NRA stuff, or they only stick to USCCA, or they only do pistol, or they only do concealed carry. I mean, if you go on the RevTac website and just see what they got going on, just in the next month alone, low light, no light training, intro to red dots, AR fundamentals 1 and 2, long range precision, pistol tactics, concealed carry courses, defensive pistol. You guys freaking do it all. And I don't have to necessarily block off an entire, 3-day chunk to come do something. But like when we came down, we did a couple of them back to back. And so we were down to do a whole weekend, and we made a whole weekend out of it, but you don't necessarily have to if you don't want to. So the flexibility and the amount of shit that you guys just offer is really freaking cool. And I don't see that a lot in other companies out there, I guess.
God, you're a sweetheart, Tyler. I just love you. Climb through this phone and give you a kiss. Yeah. Well, that is true, and that's what we're passionate about. And then we also have a bunkhouse for those guys who are traveling. So we don't expect you to turn and burn or get a hotel. We've got an amazing facility here. Dude, we're blessed better than we deserve. Let's just end on the Jesus note. For as weird as I am, that guy has been pretty good to me. So anyway, I'd love to share what we've been given with you guys. So, and I'm not talking about preaching to you. I'm saying, listen, come skinny dip in this pond, come take classes, come stay in our bunkhouse or our combat cabin. If there's a way that we can help facilitate your training, we would love to make sure that we're part of that. So, yeah.
All right. And one more thing I'm going to say before we sign off for the evening is I want you to tell us a little bit about your nonprofit, because that's also something that people need to know.
Yeah.
So tell us about your nonprofit.
Hey, so one of the best ways for guys to cope with their own just demons is to help other guys cope with their own demons, right? And so I run a nonprofit called Contact Front, and what it is it helps struggling combat vets find their purpose after the uniform. And you can still be in the uniform and struggling, or you can be done. But what we find typically is guys feel lost after hanging it up. And so that's one of the things that we really focus on, is just trying to find your purpose after. And a lot of that is just getting rid of that stinking thinking where we talk about, guys say, well, you never know. You were never in combat. You would never know. You never, you don't know the guilt I carry, or whatever, whatever stuff that we choose to, carry on ourselves. So long story short is that we have an amazing facility. We have guys coming in all the time and leaving, and as long as we can save one, my work is done here. But If that's something that you are interested in, if that's a service you need, reach out to us at contact-front.org, or my cell phone number is 712-253-8810. You can call me about any time. Unfortunately, I'm a hard sleeper, so if you call me at 3 a.m, dude, I'm not going to answer it. So hold out until about 5:45 a.m. and I'll see it and call you back. But anyway, you'll be fast asleep by then. I know how this works. But either way, we've had guys come in from all over the country, and we've really been able to help a lot of dudes. And there are other people that just can't beat those demons. So yeah.
Right on. Well, I did want to make sure that we got the word about Contact Front out as well. So, because that is some awesome work that you guys are doing down there. And I appreciate it immensely that you guys do that. So, that is it. Guys, we got anything else for the evening here?
No, I'll just say...
No, man, that's...
Go ahead, Garth.
No, I was just going to sign off, man. Say what you got to say.
I was just going to say, I just remembered that this will be my last podcast for a few weeks. I'm heading out for a while, so I'll be in an area where I won't be able to hop back on. I know I've been kind of touch and go the last few months because I've been traveling a lot. So I plan to be back probably in hopefully November. So I'll see you guys then.
Well, thanks for your cervix, Tyler.
No, anytime.
Yes, and you folks out there, you stay safe and stay armed. Support the people who support the show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, 4Patriots.com, and Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to check us out on social media. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram, AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on YouTube, AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter, AR-15 Podcast on Facebook, and wherever podcasts are found. If you just want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or give us a show idea, make sure to send that email to AR-15podcast 2.0 @gmail.com.